Okay, that's actually been working. Okay, looks like we're live. Hmm. Hi guys, welcome to today's uh, Hangout. Um, it's been 2 weeks. Yeah. So we're going to be doing this Hangout like every other week. If you read the Hangout, um, I think that was on our blog. So for those of you who haven't read it yet, we'll be doing Hangouts like every other week. So you can just check in. They're like really informal. We just um, hang out, write code, fix issues. If you have any comments or anything, you can just drop them in and then I read them out. So that's pretty much what we do here. It's, yeah, just leave stuff. Um, Today, I don't know, I actually don't have a plan. So I don't really plan these stuff out. They are supposed to be like really low effort. So, um, yeah, let's just see. I guess I'll start off with like what I've been up to for like the past 2 weeks. Um, yeah, so like leaving off from like picking up from where I left off last week, no, 2 weeks ago, sorry. Um, yeah, it's just been all about the documentation again for like it's like the fourth week, fifth week in a row. Yeah. Um, Yeah, so I guess there are a few things I want to change. I keep on seeing like things I want to improve. But the documentation is pretty much done for all of these sections. Um, yeah, I think even securities and utilities also done. So all that's left now is the front end section. That's like this part, and then the Leaf MVC section, and the documentation will be done finally. Um, yeah, so that's what's going on. Um, I'll say again, documentation is like the most difficult part of open source. Writing libraries is relatively easy. Writing documentation is just, uh, well, I also updated the tutorial a little bit, so a few things have changed. I added a few more steps too. I think all that's left is the user registration part. Is that done? Oh, looks like it's done. Wait, so what's left? I think I added two new pages here. Oh, oh, it looks like it's done. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the documentation. Um, Looking all good. Um, as I mentioned, it's like more functional this time. The whole documentation is focusing on Leaf's functional mode. On the current documentation, I think we had class mode and functional mode. You could sort of like choose. Yeah, so you can go with classes if you want to. So if you go to routes and you have all of this stuff. Well, you can still do that if you want to, but the new documentation focuses on functional mode because it's simpler and it's actually faster for some reason because it implements like the most basic form of caching. So like there's no need to um, instantiate classes multiple times and stuff like that. So yeah, it's actually quite faster. Um, I also implemented this. So now if you go to the Leaf repo, you'd I think this has been merged, so you probably wouldn't see it. But I did this. So merging Leaf router into Leaf core. Oh my goodness, so bright. Yeah, that's better. Um, yeah, so this is done. The router has been merged into Leaf's core. So um, what that looks like, nothing has changed actually. From like a user standpoint, there's like no change. Um, it's still the same old Leaf. Like you do things exactly the same way, but under the hood, um, the router is it no longer installs the router as a secondary package. It's now together. So funny enough, funny enough, this actually. So if I looked at some of the old benchmarks, there were some benchmarks of Leaf online, and it was in about like 1,200 requests per second. After this, I think that's like Leaf 3.7. It was doing about like 5,000 requests per second, which is actually crazy because I wasn't expecting that much of a performance improvement. I was expecting at most like double, so maybe 2,000 requests per second. Yeah, but 5,000 is that's a huge jump. That's crazy. Um, yeah, so it's been like all good with the router merge. Um, Leaf API has also been made a public archive. Yeah, it's a public archive now. So when you try to install it from Composer, you can still install it if you want to, but Composer would tell you, um, to use Leaf MVC instead because that's what we want you to use. So Leaf MVC is Leaf API with a view layer, so it kind of doesn't make sense for it to be that way. So yeah, so those are like some of the quick changes, new things in Leaf. Um, so yeah, there's only two packages for you to worry about now. There's no longer all of that confusing hassle anymore. It's just Leaf and then Leaf MVC. Um, yeah, so that's all. That's pretty much it. Um, Leaf MVC. There were also some fixes to some other packages like the CSRF package and I don't know if this is new. Is this new? I don't know if it was there the last time, like 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was. Let me check the comments. History. 2nd October. Yeah, I probably did this during the last stream or maybe after. I don't know. Anyway, so the CSRF package has been updated. It uses this now. It has like a tighter integration with Leaf. So right after installing the CSRF package, you can just do this and you move on with your life. Instead of the way it used to be before, which was like really clumsy. Anyway, so that's a much better integration. It's also faster. Yeah, I'm probably not the only person worrying about performance. I don't even know why I'm doing that to myself. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I sort of detailed all of this in the September catch up. So yeah, adding leaf router to leaf. Um, let's see. Yeah, the documentation, and then oh yeah, we had a lot of new external contributors. Um, actually, I have no idea what happened, but that was like really cool seeing all of the new contributors. So yeah, I actually really liked that. Okay, Hangout, finances. We'll talk about this like later on during the stream. So yeah, that's it. Those are like updates on Leaf. Yeah, the main thing for me has been documentation. Leaf MVC is updated better. Um, CSRF, I think the course package and some other few smaller stuff, they're all working better than they used to. Um, okay. So just before the stream, I was working on something else that I would like to show to you. Um, so this is I don't know if I don't know how many Leaf users are actually here, but then we had this old package called Alchemy. Um, so this was like a hacked together test runner. So it did stuff like setting up tests for you. Yeah, pretty much this modern and delightful testing library focused on. Yeah, basically, it's not actually a testing library. I think this is sort of like misleading. Um, Basically, what it did was it just set up tests for you. So instead of you going through all of the trouble of like installing a testing library, maybe like Pest or PHP unit or something like that, um, Alchemy would do that stuff for you, and then you could just write your test basically. So that was the idea, but it was basically not good. Like it wasn't good. It was it just did that. I mean, for what it was, it used to work basically. It also give you like a JSON file for you to configure your tests. I think this documentation is incomplete. I think there's like a current version on here. Yeah, and it gave you like this JSON file where you could configure your tests. It wasn't a JSON file; it was a PHP file. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So this is what it looked like, but this does not look good to me. Um, yeah, this really doesn't look good to me. So I decided to just rewrite the whole Alchemy, like a version 2 sort of thing. And the key thing here was to make it nicer, like easier to use, and then add a few more features to it. So um, the new version here is on next, the next branch. So if you can take a look at it, or there's a pull request open too, so whichever you prefer. Um, so yeah, the new Alchemy even comes with its own cute little logo. So yeah, the new one is sort of an integrated testing linting thing. So you can set up like test, linting, and then in the future like CI/CD with GitHub Actions. So you can do all of that stuff for you. So you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Um, yeah, basically. So like that's the idea. Why can I not find the documentation? Sorry. Yeah, I was looking for this. Testing. Okay. Yeah. So basically, this is it. You run leaf install alchemy just like you do right now, and then it gives you an alchemy.yml file. So this time it's not PHP, it's YML, which is actually like way cleaner. I wanted to go with JSON, but JSON YML just looks way neater than JSON, so I decided to go with this. So you can configure your tests like that, what engine you want to use, and then config for linting, GitHub Actions. This hasn't been implemented yet. I was still working on that. Yeah, it's really hacky. I mean, the code is like really, really hacky. I was still um, putting things together. There's like a proof of concept. So I would sort of like refactor this when it's done. But for now, the code is like really, really, really hacky. Yeah. So yeah, GitHub Actions is not done. I think it's sort of done, but I've not tested it. So I haven't yet pushed that. Let me just give you a demo. I think that would be way better than trying to explain what it does up front. Um, so let me just use this an empty folder, and to get a test done, I can just generate a fresh leaf project with leaf create dot. So this just spins up a dummy leaf project, empty composer.json file, and then it's just like a starter leaf project. Basically, that's what this does for you. So this like a fresh project. So let's just say we have a fresh project and we want to add alchemy. So we go with like leaf install alchemy. I'm using dev next here because it's still in development. I haven't uploaded any actual version for this, so it's just on the dev next branch. So if you want to try it out, you can use this dev next flag. So leaf install alchemy at dev next, and then yeah, you run that. The plan here was for Composer to sort of set up everything for you. So as soon as you run that command, it would sort of set up Alchemy ready for use. But Composer is kind of they have like these security things that don't allow scripts, which are actually a good idea. That's actually really cool. So if I want to do this, I have to write plugins for Composer, but that's way too much work. So anyway, so we've installed Alchemy. What we need to do now is to set Alchemy up, which is what I want a Composer to do for you. So you just run this command, vendor bin Alchemy, and it generates the alchemy.yml file for you. So breaking down this file, you have like your application directories. In this case, I don't have any app or SRC directory. Everything is in the project root. So I can just get rid of all of this. When you get rid of it, Alchemy uses the root project. So, like if you have any actual directory, you can put it there, as many as you want. In this case, I have nothing, so I'll just take everything out like that. Next thing here is the test config. So you can decide to use like a PHP unit. You can decide to use PHP unit as your test environment. I normally use pest, so I'll just keep that like that. Parallel test for now, that's not working. I'm not done with all of those stuff. This is a directory where you keep your tests. So I want to create a test directory for all my tests. So I'll keep this the same. My tests usually end with star and with .test.php, so I'll also keep this. Coverage is not yet done. I'm not done implementing test coverage, so I'll skip that for now. So yeah, that's pretty much my test. There are a few more things you can do, like if you want to configure PHP unit with all of those XML things, you can do all of that stuff here, but like for the most part, this is what everybody would need. So yeah, there's also like linting. So it uses PHP CS fixer. Sorry, I have like 1,000 browser tabs open. PHP CX fixer. It's apparently a Symfony package. Symfony has everything on it. Yeah. Yeah, so it supports like all of these PHP versions, and it does all of this for you. I mean, I won't go through the setup for all of this, but that's pretty much what it does. It just styles your code for you. PHP has this PHP Fig like framework interoperability stuff. They have like different PHP standards. In this case, I think the most common one is like PSR 12. So that's like the default. There are also a lot of rules you can apply. So if you check the documentation, by the way, this new documentation is available at beta.leafphp.dev, so you can check it out, leave your comments and stuff. It's there are a lot of things in it which are different from the old documentation, so you need to be careful with like what you choose. Okay, so documentation for this, I am looking for code styling. Yeah, so there are like a ton of tools, a ton of what do you call this? Rules. Yeah, there are a ton of rules you can use for all of this. So you can decide to style your code however you want to do that. Anyway, so when you have the rule you want to apply, you put it under the rules section, and then that'll be it. There's a GitHub Actions stuff that generates your GitHub Actions for you. So, for instance, if you check the Leaf repo, I use GitHub Actions to run tests and stuff like that. So it's pretty much going to do all of this stuff for you. So when you, for instance, like when there's a pull request, oh, actually, I have to reply to this. I'm going to do that. Yeah, like when there's a new push or there's a new test, it runs all of these on like GitHub, and since I was trying to support multiple PHP versions from PHP 7.4, it runs tests on like every single system, Windows, Linux, Mac, all of that stuff. So basically, the idea is for this to set it up for you. That's almost done. I've not yet tested it, but it might work. I'll not test it here. I'll test it later. probably like after this stream. But yeah, that's the idea. So it's supposed to have test, linting, and then actions generated for you. Um, yeah, so I guess this is a config I want to use for this project. So, um, right, I one more thing I forgot to mention. Why is my terminal frozen? One more thing I forgot to mention. When you run the leaf, the alchemy install command, it also updates your composer.json with all of these. So it gives you these commands that you can use, and then it also adds test plugins, so you don't have to do that yourself. Um, yeah, so let me leave run test, which is the test command Alchemy added. So there's no stuff you have to do by yourself. You don't need to do any of this. Alchemy does it all for you. So leave run test, and it detects pests, so it's going to set up everything for you, install pests, and then give you sample tests. So in this case, it's run a test. There's no color, unfortunately. Yeah, it has to do with some very annoying stuff I encountered. I'll probably fix that later. But for now, it generates the test. So for my alchemy file, I wanted to use tests. So it generates that for me, add sample tests like that. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much the test setup. For linting, it's pretty much the same leaf run lint, and it pretty much does the same thing. Sets up PHP CS fixer, adds some funny config, and then runs it for you. Basically, so that's it. So you have tests, you have your linting, and all of that stuff set up for you without you doing anything at all. So you can just focus on building your application and leaving all of the crappy stuff for Leaf to handle for you. So yeah, that's the idea with Alchemy. Um, there would probably be like uh, maybe like a Leaf run, like maybe like Leaf run actions or something that would generate GitHub actions for you. Um, yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, but right now that's what you have. You can try it out. Um, my goodness. Navigating between my browser tabs is like the most difficult thing on earth for me right now. Um, yeah, so if you want to try it out, you can um, leave install alchemy at dev next, and then the documentation is on beta dot. Let me just add that beta.leafphp.dev. You can just search for tests. Okay, that's going to take. Okay, that's it. Yeah. So that's pretty much all you need to do. This for those who want to try it out. Yeah. Okay. So that is alchemy. Um, okay. So other small things I've been working on. Um, so I recently added this feature that allows you to call your templating engine. So, for instance, if you link a templating engine to Leaf, um, is it here? Probably here. Yeah. So maybe like maybe Blade or something. So if you attach a template engine to Leaf, you can just call it like up whatever like that, and then you have the instance of it. Um, that was a really small change, but it was actually pretty useful because especially like in Leaf MVC, there's no real way to configure your tests. Sorry, to configure your view engines and all of that stuff. I mean, you can do that in here, config view. But then if you have any um, interesting config you want to do, um, this becomes very annoying to handle. So app view engine was a very small but very interesting addition. Updated package dependencies. Oh, new PR. Haven't checked this out. Um, oh, right. It'll be merged later, I guess. Yeah. So that's those are like the basics of what I've been up to with Leaf. Pretty much just small stuff. Once again, like the biggest thing has been the documentation. Um, oh, right. Is there like any other thing? I think, yeah, that's alchemy, the tiny additions in Leaf, and then right. I mentioned I was going to talk about Leaf UI. So Leaf UI surprisingly has a bunch of users. Actually, I didn't actually think people would use it because it was sort of like a test thing I was just experimenting with. Um, but then it kind of caught some attention. So Leaf UI is supposed to be like Laravel Livewire, which is basically sort of like an interactive PHP view layer. So it handles all of the interactive stuff for you. It's kind of like just see like a replacement for React, except that instead of React or Vue.js, except instead of writing React or Vue.js, you write PHP. So you can have your components with views there, and it's all PHP stuff. And then you can just link them on the front end. So when you click a button, you can call a PHP function, stuff like that. It's pretty much just like that. It's just basic stuff to the user. At the background, like a lot of stuff goes on. But yeah, it's pretty much just like that. So that was the idea. So leaf UI components, and then you can interpolate stuff at click, call PHP function, stuff like that. Um, yeah, and I think my last push to this was last year. That was 2 years ago. Yeah, and I have not been able to work on this again because I've had a lot of other stuff to work on, like with Leaf itself, and then Leaf MVC, Leaf API, which has now been merged into Leaf MVC. So that was a pretty sweet addition. With Leaf UI, I think maybe next year. I don't know. So the question now is I don't know if I should continue Leaf UI or I should just probably look at I don't know, a third party. Um because I don't know, at this point it's sort of looking like diminishing returns are happening. Um because that's number one, another extra library to maintain. And then yeah, I think that's like the major problem. It's another major library to maintain. Um, I don't know if it's possible to sort of like hack a way into Livewire and like pull it out of Laravel or something like that. I don't know if that's a good idea, if that's like cheating or something like that. But I think, honestly, I think that would be like a way better option than to write Leaf UI. In a sense, Leaf UI is the foundation for Leaf UI is done. Like on the server, I've been able to sort of establish the server communication between the client and the backend, and then how it parses components. This is an empty. How it parses components and all of that stuff. There's even like CSS minification automatically and stuff like that. I don't. So like the actual foundation for Leaf UI is done. Um, what's this? Random ID. Um, So continuing would not really be a problem. The main problem is UI is very annoying. There's like a lot to consider with like UI libraries. React, Vue, Tailwind, they figure all of that stuff out. Trying to figure that out on my own with like people having issues because we will definitely have issues with this. It's very limited. Um, Even beyond the limitations it has, um, things that are already working in other libraries probably wouldn't work here. I don't know what yet. I actually have no idea what will fail, but it seems like a whole lot of work to do all of that. Compile template. Yeah, pretty much. The compiler is done, and then on like the client side, um, I think the last one I did on the client side was I think I figured out like the DOM different algorithm. I don't remember where that is. It's that's like the part that connects to the server. Um, yeah, I actually have no I actually have no idea where this could probably core maybe. Um, yeah, but basically the way it works is you have some UI of some sort, and then whenever an event happens, a network call is made to the backend. The That's your server. The server will take that call, whatever is passed in, like this. So like there's all of this config, and then it will execute some code somewhere, and then it will return HTML to the browser. Then the DOM different, yeah, I think that's DOM. Yeah, probably this. I don't. It was really annoying to set up, but then I somehow managed to get it working. Um, so the DOM different algorithm sort of takes that HTML that comes back from the server and then compares it to what is in the current DOM and then figures out which parts have changed and then selectively like swaps them out and stuff like that. I think there were a few problems with it which I managed to get solved. Yeah, it was one of like the most interesting things I've worked um, on like the DOM side because I never really liked DOM manipulations. Uh, yeah, but it somehow worked. Yeah, I think the state wasn't updated, something like that. Maybe I should just run this. I haven't used it in forever. I don't actually remember how it works. Um, okay, let's just try this in the dummy project. Wonder if I can actually get to working. Would be fun to see. Um, so leave install UI at dev next. I don't know if I made it for like specifically for Leaf MVC or it works everywhere else. I actually don't remember. How does it even know which directory to keep your stuff in? Okay. Right. So it's actually PHP agnostic, so you can arrange things however you want. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's actually pretty nice. Um, okay, so I'm just going to have like maybe components. Um, sample.php. Okay, so this is my Leaf UI, and then I have decrement that decreases a count, which is 1 by default, increments that increases this count by 1, and okay, so wait, how do I, okay, this how I render it. So where do I want to render it? I want to render it here. So instead of, let me leave serve. Okay, so this is not supposed to open, but okay. Local 6500. Yeah, this is what we see by default. Okay, so I'm going to swap this view out for what should be our Leaf UI. Import Leaf UI. And my example was named test2. So let me just make this test2. I don't know if it uses composers auto loading, but just to be, okay, probably not, because there's no namespace. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea. Um, okay, so let me import this test2 component. Nothing actually happened. Okay. Yes, I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, test2 not found. Yeah, probably uses composers auto loading. So let me just name this component test2. I'll add a namespace for components and the now composer should be able to pick it up. So test two and components test two not found. Okay, what's going on? Do I have to maybe like composer dump auto load or something? Okay, yeah, so it's an actual problem. What is happening? Components test two not found. That's components test two. Hmm. Okay. Uh, Let me just cheat a bit. Let me just drop the whole class in here. Um, yep, definitely not a good way to write code, but I'm just trying to figure this out. Can Okay. So new test two, which is supposed to be this. Okay, nice. So we have a count here, and then there's like an increment, and decrement. That just adds and subtracts basically. And then for our UI, we have static text, and then a button that calls decrement, and another button that calls increment. So yeah, that's our UI. So that's what we see over here. Static text, the button number. So when we click on this, it should increase. Oh, it actually does. That's actually pretty sweet. So what? Let me. Uh, I don't know if this would work. So I think it even had like some styling, minification stuff going on there. Black, color, white. Sorry, just for my eyes. Okay, there we go. So if we check the network tab, whenever we do something, okay, that failed. Why did that fail? What's going on? Oh my goodness. What did I change? I just added this. That's pretty much all I did. Did that break it? Oh right, that broke it. That's weird. Huh. Anyway, so yeah, when you um make any change, it calls a server with whoever you are doing. I don't know how safe that is, but that's what Livewire does. Um, yeah, they probably have a different way of handling it because this actually does not look safe to me. Yeah, anyway, so this is what it does. It calls the server processes whatever you sent, and then it returns HTML. I don't know why I put UI state in here. Doesn't that mean to just re-render the whole? Oh, right, it's on a per component base. It re-renders the whole component. So it's sort of like React. Instead of doing it like the way Angular does. So Angular has this thing where they use signals, so they sort of like pick and choose what to render. But Leaf UI does it the React way, so we go on like a per component basis. So you renders like the whole component instead of just one part. So if I have a really long component tree, then it will actually selectively render. But in this case, I have only one component, so it will re-render the whole component. Hmm, pretty cool. I also don't know how safe this is. Okay, this is pretty safe. I think that's what Alpine does. Yeah. So Livewire works together with Alpine, but LeafUI doesn't have any of that stuff, so it sort of has to do the work of Alpine and Livewire together. So um, hmm, I think that's actually impressive. I am impressed. I don't know how powerful it is. I think it was still capable of like only basic stuff. Um, where is the documentation? I don't remember where the documentation is. Um, front end Leaf UI. Okay. blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so you could do this so you get syntax highlights in. Um, yeah, so far it just looks like it's good for only basic stuff. Like you can't build anything substantial with this. But like this is the foundation of everything. Um, yeah, so now the real question is whether to continue with this or to look for a third party. I was looking around and there was HTMX. I think someone mentioned building um with there was a tweet or something like that. I forgot what it was. Someone built an application with HTMX, Leaf, and WordPress. I wonder how that combo worked, but um, the app looked good. I've forgotten where that tweet is. It's a pretty old one, so I can't really look for it right now. But HTMX does pretty much the same thing, except it has a completely different syntax from what I am used to, and probably what a lot of people are used to. So um, that's probably like the only annoying side to this, but it looks like it also uses Ajax. So pretty much the same system Leaf UI runs on. Um, the next option is to find a way to just rip out Livewire from Laravel. Um, so Livewire is fine tuned to work with Laravel. Another annoying thing about Laravel, which is good, like good in the context of Laravel, but bad like outside of that is there's like so much Laravel specific stuff, specific functions. There are things that you can randomly call, and Laravel knows what you're talking about, but no one else knows what it's doing. So ripping out Livewire from Laravel would probably be like way too much work. Um, or we could just give up and use React and Vue and all of those. Um, so Leaf has support for inertia. Yeah, it has support for inertia. That means it works with React, it works with Vue, it works with Svelte, so they can handle your UI for you while Leaf handles the backend stuff. So, um, we could probably just give up on trying to write UIs with PHP and just use JavaScript because that's what JavaScript was made for. Yeah, but I noticed a lot of Laravel folks use the tall stack. That's Tailwind, um, what's the A? Alpine, yes. Tailwind, Alpine, Laravel, and Livewire. So basically, they build full stack web apps. How is that different from using React or Vue or Svelte? Um, okay, in the context of Laravel, it kind of makes sense because um, you are going to have templates with Blade anyway. So if you could sort of make your Blade views reactive, then you could skip using something like Vue or React. So it does make sense, but that's a whole lot of work for me. That's actually a lot of work for me to do. So yeah, it's still a question I have as to whether I am going to um, continue working on Leaf UI or not. Actually, can you even nest components? I think I worked on something where you could nest components, but I have no idea. The documentation also didn't mention it. Let me see. Nesting? Nope, there's nothing like nesting. Yeah, or maybe you could UI render inside. Let me try that. Um, so let me create another component. Um, maybe like a class subcomponent, extends component. Unfortunately, you have to add a key. I think that's how the server side of Leaf UI figures out how to name things or how to find things. I don't know. I probably at the time couldn't figure out a way to use a class name, which is weird because I have other components using a class name. Maybe it's because of the server client dynamic. Um, who knows? Okay. So these are subcomponents. Maybe, just maybe. Oh, okay. That's probably why I did that. Okay. So just maybe you may be able to nest components like that. You know what? Um, Wait, would that even work? Can I save UI render as a variable? I don't think so. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. So I have to um UI render. I don't actually remember if PHP allows you to do this directly. Yeah, I think it's a show up as a string. Anyway, let me just check. I really haven't done that kind of interpolation in forever. Yeah, to show up as a string. Um, you know what? Leaf UI is smart. It'll figure out where it's supposed to put everything. Hopefully. Anyway, yeah, I'm just playing around. I want to see if you can, like sub componentize things in Leaf UI, if that's a word. Um, okay, so we're supposed to see H1 sub component. I doubt we will. Yeah, it puts it at the top. Dumb. That's so dumb. Wait, I think. Wait, actually, I just remembered. I think there was like um at component. I don't really remember. Wait, how is this not in the documentation? Um, it's so weird. I can't believe this is not, unless there's like no such thing. Let's pass that. Yeah, I think it's now all sort of like coming back to me at component. Yeah, there was something like that. Okay, so we can probably do at components, and then I don't know if we're supposed to pass in like the component key or we're supposed to pass in the component class name. Well, let's try both. So now that's supposed to, okay, nice. The component key. I think this had issues. I think this is one of the issues. Um, so like if this button is supposed to do something, um, maybe like say hello or something. I don't know. Um, Maybe greet. And then you have a public greet. Okay, so we can probably at click equals. I don't know if we can do like greet equals some. I actually doubt it. I'm not even going to try it. It would fail. Anyway, so public function say hello. Okay, this will greet equals say hello. So then I can call say hello. Oh yeah, and I think you could also like pass in values. So maybe special greeting or something like that. So then you could do something like this and then you pass the value in. But then I don't remember if you pass it in as a string or if you just say, yeah, that's weird. Okay, so that didn't work. Maybe it was a string. So I have to escape this. Hmm. Okay. Yep. That's probably like one of the issues I was having. Wait, but the hello works. So wait, yeah, the hello works. So why doesn't this work? Hmm. Yeah, so these are like some of the problems I was having with Leaf UI. I probably had a fix for it back then, but I don't remember much about the library right now. So um, yeah, so I think I'm probably just going to look into getting a third party. Yeah, because it's probably easier to use something like Vue for all of this than to learn a whole new syntax. I think that's another problem. Like you'd have to learn another syntax to do stuff like this. So yeah, definitely not going to work. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably have to figure that out later. Anchor also got a few updates. Yeah. I'm just going to close Leaf UI for now. Yeah, let's um let me just get rid of all of this. I don't know if I'll have to show anything again, so let me just get rid of all of this stuff. Um okay. Anchor is Leaf's security model. It comes with like a few interesting things. Sanitization and all of that. But then you never actually have to use Anchor because Leaf handles all of that stuff for you. So this is like one of those under the hood things. So you actually never have to interact with it. CSRF, documentation, Leaf MVs, Leaf API. I've talked about all of that stuff. Yeah, tiny updates, tiny updates. Nothing of actual notice. I think there were a couple of things we had to do for router. Um, so yeah, I think now would be like a really good time to do that, especially since I've already moved the router to Leaf. So yeah, we have this router class here. So um, these are just little enhancements we can make. So Fritz Dev wanted to um, be able to run middleware on a resource route. But currently, resource routes in Leaf, I don't think they take in route params. Do they? Okay, I think they do. They do take in route. No, they actually don't take in any route params. Um, yeah. So this is what it does. Um, so resource routes basically are for resource controllers. Um, they are more of a pattern than like an actual functionality. So they just make this easier if you want to use it. Being able to pass in route params means those route params would be um, the route params would be called for every single item over here. So there's like this route. I think these are like six different. Are they six? Um, that's like seven. Yeah, so I counted. Anyway. So they'll be called for every single item in here. Um, I mean, it does sound like a good idea. Um, it's actually a really good idea. So, I think I have like a test project here. Let me get rid of all of this stuff. So this was one of the tests I was doing with the CSRF thingy. Okay, so I'll get rid of all of that, and we should be able to have route resource. Wait, is that how it works? App resource. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Yeah, so app resource, and then let me just use this exact example because in the end, this is what we want. So app resource, and it's supposed to be to slash post, and it uses a middleware called auth. So I'll just define a tiny middleware here called auth. Register middleware auth. And middleware have all been updated to function. So no matter what sort of middleware you are using, it's just a function in Leaf. Um, Leaf MVC still has the class middleware if you want it. But yeah, this is what Leaf does. We are not going to use Leaf auth. This is just going to echo out auth middleware. So if we run this, I think we can go to slash post in the browser. I don't remember what these actually are. Okay, so there's a get. Okay. It's supposed to be for controllers. We don't have a post controller. Let me create one. Post controller. And controllers are just classes that have different methods. So if you look in here, you see it trying to call a controller at index, at store. So these things after the at are just methods inside your controller. So class post controller. Yeah, and you see GitHub Copilot trying to do all of this stuff for me. I'll just accept this one for now. Okay. So now we have our controller. We have our middleware. So if this works, you're supposed to see auth middleware, and then after that, we're supposed to see the controller post index. Um, so to run this, we go to our browser. Um, I have to actually start the server first. Integrate a terminal, and then leave serve. Okay, nice. So that's what we get, array to string conversion, because with our current implementation, um, routes don't resource routes don't accept route parameters. So you can't just pass middleware like this. It has to be a string. Actually, let me check if this works. I don't know if it will be able to pick up the controller. Oh yeah, slash post. Yeah, post controller not found. I think Leaf has this up. What do you even call it? I think it's like set. Yikes, I've actually forgotten this. Yeah, let me just check the router. Namespace, something about set namespace, yeah. Set namespace, and then we set it to, I don't know, what's the namespace in here? Maybe just empty strings. The drug. I don't actually even know which composer.json is being called. This is such a drag. Um, you know what? Never mind. Let me just require directly. I'm cheating once again, but it's fine. So leave serve. By the way, if you didn't know, leave serve installs dependencies for you if it detects you've not already installed it. So that's what just happened. There we go. We have post index, but then what we want to happen is we want to have the um, we want to have middleware in. So we want to be able to use an array middleware, and then the middleware's name is auth, like that. So we call these route parameters. So you can add other things like namespaces and all of that. Oh, right. So I've just done this here. Doesn't really matter. Um, so, yeah. Now we have this issue. We have this problem to solve. Um, how do we go about fixing this? Router, resource. Okay. So, so first of all, we have to accept arrays and strings. So if it's an array, huh, it's actually going to be funny. Um, for now, let me just get rid of this and then just pass in whatever controller we're passing in. So in this case, the controller is going to be the route parameter. I'll comment all of these out, else I'll still get that error. Okay. String position, haystack must be of type string. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Um, index, resource, slash post, middleware, post controller. Oh, right, that's what's happening. Post controller at index. For like resource routes, you don't have to pass this in, but because we did that, yeah. So this is actually what's supposed to happen. This is so bright. Damn. Um, okay. Yeah. So now this is tricky. This is actually really tricky because um, someone can pass in an array like this, or pass in a string, and then if it's an array, we have to append. Just append it. We have to add the act method to whatever the person passing. So with a resource controller, someone will be passing in something like this, right? So we have to add the at index, at create, at whatever to this, else we run into this issue. Um okay, so let's try to fix this. Um so we can say controller. How on earth do I know how to type? Okay, so if a controller is an array, um if it's an array, then the controller is the only thing in the array that doesn't have a key. So the way route parameters work, um, you can have all of your route parameters with like key value pairs, so the middleware or namespace to something else, right? But then your actual route handler doesn't have a key. It's just passed in like that. I'm not formatting this right, so it looks a bit more confusing, but it's pretty much like this, right? So you have key value pairs for all of the route parameters, but then the route handler itself doesn't have a key. Um, so one easy way to do this would be, yeah, but then we have too many ifs, which is not fun. Anyway, this is just so like if it's array, if it's array controller, um, I think there's like an is numeric here. Yeah, there's an is numeric. Um, wait, wait. I think we can actually just do this. Controller zero. I don't know if PHP uses zero as the first um, non-numeric thing. Sorry, as like the first non-keyed value. So this would still be zero, or it has to be at the top. Actually, I have no idea which way PHP works. So let me just try this. Um, okay, so we can response die controller. Um, yeah, object of class closure could not be converted. Right. So I think it's actually working. Yeah, I think it's actually working. Yeah, because we got that error and it said closure. The only closure was wiper. So if I do this, it should be able to pick it up. Post controller. Nice. Uh that's actually I don't know if This will be continued in the future because people might see this and be like, "Oh, PHP is such a weird language because it's not the first item in the array, but then it is the first non-keyed item in the array. So it's still supposed to start from zero. At least that's what I think. Um, so yeah, so I can just do zero to get a controller. So that simplifies things for me because now I can just say, so I can just set controller to whatever the controller is. So I don't even need to set it. This is something I don't like because I've been writing a lot of React. You know how in React you're not supposed to update your props. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing here, and it's PHP, so it doesn't really matter. Um, yeah, basically, so this should work. So in this case, it should be controller at index. So if it's an array, it will look for the first non-keyed item, but then this doesn't solve the problem. This just allows us to pass in arrays without it throwing the error. So we get post index, that works fine. But then we don't see our middleware working. It's supposed to have off middleware before that. Yeah. So to fix this, um, huh, to fix this, okay, so we can do one more thing here. We can you unset, oops. I don't know if you can unset controller zero. Probably, maybe you actually can. So let me try this. And then after doing that, we response die controller zero. Wait, wait. No, that wouldn't work because I'm actually setting. This is why you're supposed to touch props. Anyway, so let me change this to. I don't want to use a loop. That would be very. That would be disastrous. Okay, so um, I'll just say options equals this guy. Options equals an empty array. Yeah, an empty array for starters. And then I can set options to controller, not one, to controller. That was way too many lines of code. I wish it was like one line to do this. Yeah, so now I can just unset options. I can unset options 0. And this should give us all of the options without the route handler. Undefined array key 0. Okay, beautiful. That's exactly what we need. So this should still work. Nice. Um, okay. What we need now here is to pass in options. Wait, isn't this really redundant? Yeah, this is actually very redundant. Why are we even getting this and then resetting it? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it actually doesn't make any sense. But we can't also do this, can we? Okay, so what if instead of setting controller to that, I set controller to hmm, yeah, I just set controller 0 to something, like controller 0 at whatever. I really don't want to loop. I actually really don't want to loop, which is why I'm doing all of this. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me just play along with this because I mean doing it this route Um, hmm, yeah, this is actually really annoying because then we have to do options and then wait, PHP now allows you to add to arrays. PHP is not turning into JavaScript. Anyway, yeah, so we can array merge like this. Yeah, handler. Yeah, we can actually set handler like that. Yeah, so this should work. Let's check. Let's test this out. Yeah, so we have auth middleware now, and then we have post index. So that works. Um, but now what if the person passes in a string, which is what we currently expect? So a string. Let's see if that still works. Yep, that works. That works fine. Yeah, that works. That works perfectly. Um, okay. So I guess we have a kind of working version. I'm actually not comfortable with this implementation because we are sort of like certain, uncertain, certain, uncertain. Doesn't really make much sense to me. Um, but I'll keep this for now. I'll work on it. I'll try and smoothen this out later. So we can bring all of this back, all of these guys back. And then we do exactly the same thing. So this one is controller at store. Yeah, controller at store. We have controller at create, controller at destroy, update, edit show. Wait, where it? This many? Okay, so destroy. Um, what was this one? Update, edit, and show. This is so annoying. Okay, so edit and finally show. Okay. Um, so now this should work for all of them, all of the above. Okay. I mean, it's not a really good implementation, but at least I skipped looping, which is all I wanted to do from the beginning. I can probably simplify this a bit more, because this is, yeah, we are basically getting uncertain, using the same value and then setting it back. That's actually no good at all. So, um, yeah, well, we can we can sort of see this as done. Um, mm, right, right, right. Why not think about this? This is actually a way simpler solution because I have everything already working for me. Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, yeah, I'll probably just change it to that because this is so annoying. Yeah, why did I not? I should have. This is why I need to read comments. Funny enough, uh, that's a good one. That's actually a really good implementation of it. Yeah, I'll probably use that instead. That's actually way better. Chaining middleware. I'm probably going to just make it an array, so you'd be able to do something like instead of this, you can probably have like middleware auth middleware something instead of. I mean, it is clean to sort of have like middleware and then like what Laravel does, but I'm already using route options, so might as well just you know work with that instead of and route options are faster than I mean technically there's um the performance gains are you know um there's no real performance gain there, but anyway, I'm already using route options, so I'll probably just stick with that. Let's see. So chaining middleware, optional routes don't work. I've already fixed this one. So I fixed this quite a while ago. So I would close this up. This has been fixed. I was supposed to close a comment. Anyway, optional routes don't work. Error in routes. Okay, what's the error? Um, Error route. What is working? Does this have to do? And this is really old, and there's been no feedback on it, so I have no idea if it's even been fixed. Um, yeah. So for the rest, what I'm going to do is I'll just move them to leaf. This was being discussed, never finished, never actually closed that out. Yeah, so I'll just move these to the actual leaf repo because the leaf router repo right now is basically over. Um, yeah, so enhanced route handler, enhanced, my goodness. So chaining middleware, I'll move this one too. But this one is something I am going to work on. Um, Looks like I am going to have to end the stream soon. Um, but before I do, there's one more thing I have to finish up, which is mocking. Oh my goodness, Friday nights are so noisy. Anyway, so yeah, I was going to mark this as a public archive because we're sort of done with it. So I can archive this repo. And on packages, I probably have to specify a new um yeah, to suggest a replacement, and that's leaf/leaf. Yeah, so anyone using leaf router, you can just get rid of leaf router from your dependency list. Um, like if you have leaf router here, just get rid of it and then update your leaf version, and that should be all. There's no new API change, nothing you wouldn't realize. There's no surprises basically, and there are a lot more performance gains from doing that. So, all good, no bad. Yeah. So, yeah, this is pretty much what I have been up to. More things I'm working on. Alchemy should be out probably like next week. At least a usable version should be out next week. Um, I was reading up on like composer plugins and stuff, but yeah, I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Not for a while. So yeah, a usable version should be out next week. Documentation should be done also hopefully next week. So yeah, next week is a really um packed week for Leaf. Um yeah. So that's pretty much everything from me. Our next hangout would be in 2 weeks. Um when is that? Oh funny, 2 weeks. My birthday is also in 2 weeks and it's pretty much like the same day. So let's see what happens. Maybe it'll be shifted forward or backwards. I don't know. Yeah, so that's it. Don't forget to join in for our next hangout, and you can expect more updates on our blog. So our blog is on blog.leafphp.dev. We always post about stuff, so you can just go read if you missed anything. We also have a Substack, so if you want to get frequent updates, you can just subscribe to our Substack here. Yeah, that's it. See you in 2 weeks.